Yeah, bang bang rail. Brian Cottrell. I like Brian Cottrell, you know. I know a lot of people run him down. I've got a guy who keeps coming on my comments, running Brian down, saying Brian could fight anybody, 50,000 men at once, and all that game. Axis choppers, he'd just kill him. You know, this guy's funny. But Brian Cottrell, I respect him as a man. I've heard him talk to on James English's his podcast, on Sean Atwood's podcast, yeah, and I like it. I like the way he talks. He's not flash. He ain't a flash really. He says what he is. He said that Lee Duffy, out of the blue, coming out with a punch, knocked him on the floor. Yeah, he said I never even see it coming. He's a guy that punches from the side. Matt Legg said the same thing. He said that Lee Duffy does the same thing. He said Lenny McLean and Lee Duffy fought. He said Lenny McLean would have beat Lee Duffy, but if Lee Duffy would have fought Lenny at 16 stone, I wouldn't like to say which one of them would have won. No way. But if Lee Duffy would have fought Lenny at 22 stone, Lenny would just walk through him. Lenny would just walk through him and batter him. Lenny at 20 or 22 stone, 23 stone, was an animal. And he would just walk through you. He had a chin of granite at that weight. He didn't have a chin of granite at that weight with, I don't think he fought Cliff Fields when he was 22, 23 stone. I think maybe he fought Cliff Fields when he was about 18 stone. But that little bit more weight makes a lot of difference. I mean, Cliff Fields annihilated him, didn't he? I mean, Cliff Fields sent Lenny bankrupt. Cliff Fields was a proper hard fighter, mate. You know, Billy Air rated him. I mean, I used to see Billy Air quite a lot, and I asked him about Cliff Fields, and he said Cliff Fields, right, believe it or not, mate, he's a very, very hard man. It was a good banger, but the only thing, his eyes cut. And he said because his eyes cut, he said I always make a beeline for the eyes, always. He said, that's how I beat him, stopping him like that. But a good fighter, Cliff Fields, mate. Cliff Fields, I'd love to have seen Cliff Fields fight Harry Starbuck. You know, I liked Harry. I was mates with Harry. Had some good talks with Harry Starbuck. I loved it. I loved the way Harry was. Harry looked after pubs by himself. He didn't need no doorman, mate. He didn't need no doorman. And Harry Starbuck was a good-looking guy, but he could fight. I mean, Roy Shaw stopped him in the first round. I know that. Knocked him out in the first round, I think. But that can happen. It's as Matt Legg said, it is true. It's all about a punch. One punch can change the directions of a fight in seconds. You know, you got some good fighters that can come unstuck with just one punch. You know, and that's what happened with Harry Starbuck when he fought Roy Shaw. Roy Shaw hit him a good punch and knocked him down. But Harry Starbuck was a really, really hard man, mate. He could fight, Harry. He could fight. I remember, I'm not talking about myself too much now. I'm not doing the Marvin Herbert. But I remember at Harvey Social Club when Harry Starbuck and Lenny McLean were supposed to meet. And Harry was there and Lenny never showed up to fight Harry Starbuck. It was the top of the bill. And Harry Starbuck was gutted that Lenny never showed. I was there as a compare. With Jimmy Tibbett and Eddie Richardson and Terry Coombs and Sharp and that lot. And they got me to fight this big black guy. Anyway, Harry was supposed to fight him, but he never showed it. Harry wouldn't fight, so I had to fight him. Anyway, that happened, and whatever happened, I won the fight. Another good fighter in my times was a guy called Shaka. Shaka, I believe, I'm not quite sure, you'd have to check it out, but I believe that Shaka beat Cliff Fields. That's what I was told. I've never actually seen the fight. I was told that Shaka beat Cliff Fields. Good fighter, Shaka. I'd love to have seen it, but I didn't see it. Cliff Fields, I thought that he never got beat as an unlicensed fighter, but I was told that Shaka beat him. Shaka, Lenny wouldn't fight Shaka. He wouldn't fight him. I think Shaka would have beat Lenny at that time, because at that time Shaka was going to fight Lenny. It was the time when I fought Brian Hall at the Rainbow, and I got out the ring and jumped straight into Lenny's feet, really. And Lenny was saying, you should have knocked him out. He said anyway. But Lenny was about 16 stone, 15 and a half, 16 stone. And I think that Shaka at that time was about that weight, and I think Shaka would have beat Lenny easy. He'd have smashed him around the ring. Lenny, I've got to say it. When people say they've had 2,000-3,000 fights on the street, personally, I think that's virtually impossible to have that many fights on the street and look as you look. I know Brian Cockerill says he's had 2,000 or 3,000 fights. Lenny McLean says he's had 2,000 or 3,000 fights on the street. I think that's a lie. I think you've got to go somewhere to have 2,000 or 3,000 fights. I think I've had about maybe 600 fights, but not that many, mate. Not thousands. It's a bit over the top. But anyway, they said it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just saying it's virtually impossible, really, to have that many fights on the street and look as you look. You'd be on your heels, mate. You'd be on your heels and you'd be smashed to pieces. Look at Barty Gorman. Barty Gorman's had lots of fights, and he looked as if he had lots of fights. Do you know what I mean? He was a bit smashed up, mate, his face and all that. But you know, good fighter, Barty Gorman. Good fighter. But anyway, I like to see Brian Cockerill fight Lenny McLean. Love to see that. I love to see Harry Starbuck fight Lenny McLean. I know that Kelly Paddock fought Lenny McLean, beat him. And I know that Johnny Waldron fought Lenny McLean and beat him. And I know also Roy Shaw fought Lenny McLean and beat him, even though Lenny McLean came back later and beat Roy Shaw. Another good fighter that really no one really talks about is Lou Yates. I mean, fair play to Lou Yates, you know, coming from up where he come from, up north, and to come down to London and mind and become a bodyguard and also work on the doors of clubs. Yeah, he got to have some nerve to do that. And I believe that he could have a right fight, Lou Yates, proper fighter. The only thing I didn't like was when Lou Yates told a bit of a yarn, saying that Cliff Fields, when he walked into the bar and he only got Cliff Fields and Cliff Fields turned his back on him. That is the biggest load of shit that I've ever heard in my life. That's more bollocks than anything. Because I know for a fact that Cliff Fields, knowing how I knew him, and I knew Cliff Fields quite really well, yeah, that Cliff Fields couldn't give a fuck for any man. He don't care. He'd fight anybody. He was one of them people that respects himself, and he would never bow down to a fight. He'd fight anybody. You know, I loved Cliff for that. Anybody I've seen him fight on the street, I know Lenny. I know Cliff Fields can really march on. He can fight, mate. You know, and I know that he would have beat Lenny on the street or in the ring. He probably beat him in the ring anyway, twice or 3 times, but I fancy he'd beat him on the street too. Lenny, I've got the utmost respect for Lenny. I mean, Frankie Warren made Lenny McLean. He was Lenny McLean's cousin. Lenny McLean made Frank Warren. They both got together and made each other. You know, Frankie Warren without Lenny McLean would never be where he is today. Personally, I know Frankie Warren's one of the top promoters going now, but as I say, Frankie Warren would not have gone nowhere without Lenny McLean. It was Lenny McLean that made him. I'm just gutted that I never done the same things as Frankie Wine. I know I had promotions, I know I had my own promotions, but I didn't do what Frankie Wine did. Even though I had the people to do it with, instead of doing that when it's just straight into arm robberies like a silly little boy. But that's what I did. Shaka. Shaka used to fight Colombo. Them two have had some fights. Them two have had some fights, and funny fights, you know what I mean? But Colombo's giving backhanders, he's a karate, and those some fights, them two, Shaka and Colombo. You want to watch them, they're good fights, mate. Colombo, Steve Riches, was going to fight Lenny McLean, and Lenny McLean didn't want to fight him. For some reason, Lenny McLean would not fight Colombo. Yeah, he was going to get it on, and it never happens. And I wouldn't like to say who'd have won that fight. Honestly, I would never like to say, but that was at the weight 16, 17 stone Lenny was at that time, you know, and him and Colombo was about what, I don't know, 14 stone, 15 stone. But Lenny wouldn't fight him, mate, for some reason. Anyway, bang bang well, just a little video. Please like and subscribe. Nice one, boy.